A great champion performs well when it's the most necessary, and that is exactly what Max Verstappen did at the Japanese Grand Prix. Albeit a boring race, the four-time world champion proved that the Red Bull in his hands is still a strong car and routinely won, sending a strong message to his main rivals this year, McLaren, that he will not give up that easily. But how is it possible that Verstappen won without any issues in a car that even he said that it's impossible to drive? Red Bull's car isn't as quick as McLaren's right now, and Lando Norris leads the Formula One championship for a reason. Still, Max Verstappen is mounting an unlikely challenge for the title. Expecting anything more from Verstappen at this point in the season would be unfair. He's thriving in the underdog role, and in this form, a little extra support from Red Bull could make a championship win possible. He's driving with razor-sharp precision, squeezing out every possible point, regardless of whether the car is performing well, poorly, or somewhere in between, while maintaining his own consistently high level. If Red Bull can bring the car up to even remotely match the standards Verstappen is setting in it, how can anyone else be the title favorite? In Australia, the way he relentlessly pursued the McLarens early on and kept Norris under pressure in the final laps showed just how disruptive he can be when the car gives him even a fighting chance. And in China, when the Red Bull wasn't at its best, he still pulled off the classic maximize the bad days move. Now, after Japan, he's added a bit of brilliance, taking a car that was just barely in contention for pole, securing track position, and delivering a flawless drive to victory. That's one of the best weekends Max has had, Red Bull team boss Christian Horner said. We literally turned the car upside down setup-wise, worked very hard with the engineering team, and were finally able to give him a car that he could make use of in Q3 with the most stunning lap. To convert that into a hard-fought victory in a straight fight puts him 1 point behind in the Drivers' Championship. We leave Japan still with plenty of work to do, but huge motivation. Verstappen even set the fastest lap in history at Suzuka, in qualifying of 1 minute 26.98 seconds, beating Vettel's previous one from 2019, in a car that by all means is far from the beast of 2022 and 2023. Even though Antonelli holds the official record in a race, Verstappen's 4 seconds faster one is one that will be talked about in the next period. The closest Lando Norris came to challenging Verstappen at Suzuka was after their pit stops, when he briefly pulled alongside thanks to a quicker release, only to find himself pushed onto the grass as Verstappen held firm. Sure, Max could have left a bit more room, but why would he? He was well within his rights to defend, and his positioning was simply smart racing. Norris made his case over the radio, but that kind of back and forth is just par for the course in modern F1. It was another reminder of Verstappen's no-nonsense, ruthless style. If there's no reason to yield, he won't. And based on how last season played out, wouldn't you still bet on him coming out on top in a wheel-to-wheel battle more often than not? And looking beyond Verstappen, McLaren has its own challenges. The first 3 races suggest Norris doesn't have a clear upper hand over teammate Oscar Piastri, whether in qualifying or in race pace. That means both drivers carry the risk of dropping points, even when the car is strong. McLaren has already missed a few opportunities, and that's exactly the kind of opening Verstappen thrives on. When I came here, I didn't expect to win here at all, and after Friday, not at all, Verstappen said to Viaplay after the race. Starting on pole was the most important thing this weekend. McLaren, I think, was faster, but they couldn't get into the DRS to make a move. Asked for his reaction to the victory and whether the win was entirely down to the driver, Verstappen responded lightheartedly. I'm very happy with what I'm doing. I don't even want to think about it. If I'd been in that other car, then you wouldn't have seen me. Verstappen was then quick to call it a team effort, with Red Bull having unlocked more pace from the RB21 car. In the end, it's always a team that works well together. With GP, and this weekend I also had another performance engineer, Hugh Bird, he said. I worked with him until the end of 2020 as well, and that actually went really well. In the end, we made the right choices before we went into qualifying. If you listen to the onboards, it runs very smoothly between me and GP. Those are things that are very important though. Despite his first breakthrough win in 2025, Verstappen was also quick to temper expectations heading into the next round in Bahrain, just 1 point behind Lando Norris at the top of the drivers' standings. This was a great result, but it was difficult to overtake and qualifying was very important here, he said. This does not mean that everything is now suddenly Hosanna and that we are going to win all the races, but we can be very happy with this. McLaren's drivers paid the price for slightly under-delivering in qualifying at Suzuka, where overtaking was notoriously difficult. And with tyre degradation unusually low, the team's standout strength, excellent tyre management, never really came into play. That gave Verstappen the perfect opportunity to capitalize on his hard-earned track position, something that won't be as easy to replicate at other circuits, even if he manages to get ahead again. Then there is the fact there will be headaches for McLaren in managing the two drivers this season. While Verstappen obviously is top dog and stands alone at Red Bull even after the driver changes there. That's a lot for McLaren to manage to beat Verstappen over a season. But there is an obvious rebuttal. Verstappen defied F1's fastest car at Suzuka, but it's also asking a hell of a lot to keep doing that for the whole year. Meanwhile, the RB21 remains unpredictable. Verstappen continues to wrestle with an inconsistent cornering balance that resists taming. As Red Bull attempts to fix one issue, another tends to emerge. A front-end limitation on entry might shift to the middle of the corner, or rear instability could transfer from corner exit to turn-in. It's a complex problem that Red Bull needs to get on top of. Otherwise, it risks asking too much from a driver who's already pushing the boundaries of what's possible. But to be honest, Verstappen has that classic siege mentality. It's him against the world, and he genuinely believes no one does it better. That mindset is part of what makes him so formidable. Even with the fastest car on the grid, McLaren's drivers can't afford to operate at anything less than 100%. The internal pressure they're putting on each other means every lap has to be on the limit. There's no margin for error, and that intensity is likely contributing to the small mistakes we've seen. In past dominant teams, there was usually a clear number 1 and number 2 driver. The top driver could afford to run at 99%, knowing their teammate wasn't a real threat. But with Norris and Piastri so closely matched, neither has that luxury, and it's showing in how hard they're pushing. Right now, one of McLaren's biggest challenges in the title fight is that the driver struggling more with the car is also the one leading the championship. While Norris is currently ahead of Piastri in the standings, it's hard for the team to justify asking him to move aside. That said, they could have tried a switch with the condition that if Piastri didn't get past Verstappen, the positions would be reversed again. But it does seem like if the roles were reversed, if Norris was the quicker driver stuck behind Piastri, they probably would have issued the team order with that same provisional swap back. Lando is talented, no doubt about that. But right now, maybe it's Piastri who is showing slightly better development. And to be honest, some of McLaren's recent decisions and comments make it seem like they're going out of their way to protect Lando, maybe out of fear of damaging his confidence or mental state. There's definitely a sentimental attachment to Lando. He's been with the team a long time, wears his heart on his sleeve, and is clearly an emotionally sensitive guy. But the so-called papaya rules seem ineffective. The team needs to stop tiptoeing around feelings and start making the tough calls that put performance first. That's what Red Bull does. And like it or not, that's how you win championships. As sentimentality won't get you anything in Formula One. What do you think? Can Verstappen's experience be the determining factor in who will win the title in this last year of these sets of regulations, before the cars and engines drastically change in 2026? Let us know in the comments down below, and we will see you in the next video.